This episode of the Offroad Podcast is sponsored by Warren Medical Gear Outfitters and Colby Valve.
Offroad Podcast, episode 382, MFC Offroad. Tonight, Aaron chooses some names and Ben does some kung flu fighting. Welcome to the Offroad Podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. Your hosts tonight are Aaron. My name is Ben, and our guest tonight is Jesse from MFC Offroad. And welcome to the show. You know, that was one volume I didn't check. Was that loud or not?
It sounded a little bit low.
Okay. Well, I'd rather
That's
have
how
it
that
low than overbearingly powerful.
That's how that goes. Yeah, it won't blow out anybody's speakers in their cars when they're playing this podcast.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, what's new, man?
Let's see here. I got enough fencing. I shouldn't say I should say we out here on the farm. We got enough fencing done that we were able to get the cows brought into us on Sunday. So we got 3 cows. There's the pictures of them. For now, we're just calling them Larry, Mo, and Curly because we haven't picked their actual names yet. So if anybody's got some great names, and by great names, I'm talking about names like sirloin and pork chop and things like that. So they're all boy cows. So we need some meat cow names.
Chuck, like Chuck steak.
Chuck. Yep. Chuck is a good one. Although we already have a Chuck on the property. It's a super old Toyota pickup truck. So we already have a Chuck the truck. So I don't know if Chuck will work or not.
Chuck staking ton.
Yeah. So if any listeners come up with some fun ideas, throw them in the comments and yeah, let me know what you think of some good cow names. Beyond that, we're supposed to go out of town down to the Florence Dunes for Thanksgiving, and we canceled those plans just to keep it local and give us some more time to finish the rest of the cow fences. And I'm going to get some time in on my shop, getting some more of the walls built on the shop. So Rick says beefcake. I love beefcake. In fact, I think I was mentioning beefcake just last week in regards to cows. So that's a good one. I like that one, Rick. Probably won't be putting any candles in that beefcake though. Yeah, so I'll get a chance to work on my shop over Thanksgiving break. And once I get a couple more of these wall panels up, I'm going to start ripping into the suspension on the Frontier. And I shouldn't say the suspension, the knuckles on the Frontier, and replacing the brakes with the Nissan Titan brakes that I've been talking about for 6 months or so now. So finally going to get to that. Ben, so once you mute yourself, why don't you tell us what you've been up to?
So are you going to be ready in February? That's the big question.
I hope so.
You hope so? It's okay.
Yeah.
You can ride shotgun.
Yeah. Eric says another name would be Big Mac. I am not a big fan of McDonald's food, period. So I don't think Big Mac's going to fly.
Yeah. Where's the beef?
Yeah.
Well, I've been fighting off sickness around the house. I'm still sick, getting better, but I'm still coughing a lot. It's terrible. But my oldest son had his last week of rehearsals last week for his play, and he made it for his play. And Tim McGrath is awesome. I love that. That's a good one.
Tim McGrath. That is a good one.
But he got the flu. We actually were able to find Tamiflu. Apparently there's a shortage of that. Shortages on everything right now.
Yeah, good grief.
Glad I'm not Canadian trying to find Tylenol. So as he's finally feeling better, my youngest son gets sick. and misses the rest of the week of school. And then so I missed opening night for my son's play. And then I made it to the last night because
Good.
son was finally feeling well, hadn't had a fever in 24 hours. So we go to that one, or we go to leave for that one. And my middle son has a fever. So I got mad and we threw a mask on him and went. And then so I saw the play and we called it good. And now I've just been dealing with him being sick. So, and then the little one got a fever again. So just can't win.
Nope. Flu just will tear through a household. So I get it. So that means you didn't get that second skid plate on, doesn't it?
No, I haven't touched my Forerunner. I've actually got a pile going in the back of the Forerunner of all sorts of parts and stuff I need to go work on. But my check cleared finally for the garage, so I'm officially on the books. I'm waiting for permits to come back because I'm having someone else do it and all that permit planning and all that crap. So they say 9 months is my total build time, but it could be shorter. It could be like 6 months or 5 months.
That sounds like trying to buy a suppressor.
Yeah.
6 to 12 months. That's when it'll show up.
Somewhere in there. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I want to go in the backyard and like level stuff and throw gravel down, but I'm gonna wait till permit comes back.
Well, don't they do that? Why would you be leveling and graveling?
So I can pay someone to come out and do the leveling and graveling. The company doesn't. They just give you the plans for it.
Okay.
But I want to do more than just the one spot for the garage. I'm going to do a whole driveway back there in gravel because there is no driveway back there. And
Gotcha.
then I'm going to expand off the side of it. And I'm either going to put up a little metal lean-to for the trailers because I wanted to do a 3-1, but that was too expensive.
Yeah.
So I've got to figure out that, but I'm just going to throw a spot for parking on the side of it too.
Josh in the comments says lawn mower.
Ooh, I like
that's another fun cow name.
Oh, hey, that's the Josh with the Nissan, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I think he's a East Coast Josh.
East Coast Josh.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been my life. Lots of fun. What about you, Jesse? Anything fun off-roadish?
Well, let's see. I'm probably going to be doing the New Jersey has a nice Trans New Jersey trail that basically goes from High Point, New Jersey, all the way down to Cape May. It's about 400 and something miles, and it's like fire roads, all sorts of gravel roads, nothing way too crazy. But I'm putting 35s on my Tahoe, and I wanted to get some actual action shots out in like the outdoors because there's a couple of products that we wanted to debut, and what better way to do it on the Tahoe that we're actually using the thing off road. And then again, it is a massive truck that people really don't use off road, but we like to be able to at least push our product out there and show the capabilities of it for anybody who's daring enough to take an $80,000, 7,000-pound truck through some water traps and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I'm Googling that. It looks like a cool trail.
Yeah, it's I'd say pretty similar to Washington Backcountry Discovery Route. Lots of Forest Service roads with a here and there spot of fun.
There's there's a nice portion of it that just dumps you out in like some cranberry bogs down in like South Jersey, and you're like traveling on a raised platform with cranberry bogs to your left and right, which is pretty wild.
That's cool.
It's nice to know that there's still wild places on the East Coast. I never think about the East Coast as having much of woods, but here and there I see it and I'm just like, oh, that's awesome. And there's a lot of cool stuff out there.
Yeah, I mean, Northern Jersey has its parts, but when you go down to like Gloucester County, all the way down to Atlantic County in South Jersey, you would think you're like in Iowa. That's how like barren it is. It's like it's almost like a culture shock. Like it's so beautiful that you would never think that an hour north is like Trenton or Newark or anything like that. That's just like a bustling city.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with my thoughts on it is what is it, like New York? You think of New York City whenever you hear of New York. And it's like you don't realize like outside of New York City is it kind of as the farther away you get, the more rural it gets.
Oh yeah. That's all that when I grew up, actually that's all we had. We had cows. It was potato farms and cows and horse farms down in like central Jersey. And that's actually where I started going off-roading. I went to a state park called Assunpink Wildlife Refuge, I think it is. And the first off-road adventure I had was with my buddy. He had a CJ5, CJ7, and we were stuck in mud and we were on the backs of it trying to get out of the thing, you know, bogging it left and right, and we were just getting covered in mud. He was flooring it pedal to the metal and was just spitting up mud on all of us. And what I took that day was a CRV, a Honda CRV. Took it off.
Yeah.
And I think I had to explain to my dad why there was so much mud on that thing when I got home. It was not my car; it was his.
Uh-oh.
But ever since then, I was hooked. Back since I was 16 or 17.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we've got a new contest. Well, actually, it's not new. We've talked about it, but it's pretty simple. You guys just need to write into us, hit us up on any of the social medias or through our Gmail account, and tell us if you won that big Powerball money, which is too late now. You can't win it anymore. But if you came into a very large sum of money, what rig would you buy? How would you build it? And how would you use it? Don't just tell us how you'd build it up and everything. Also tell us, like, would you take it around the world trip? Would you visit every state in the U.S.? Would you drive it down to the tip of South America? What would you do with that rig? Maybe you want to build a submarine. Maybe you want to go in the Marianas Trench or something. I don't know. But yeah, tell us about your off-road adventure that you would have in this this rig that you build. And we will read the entries that we get on our December 19th show, and then we're going to pick a winner at random, and they are going to win a pair of these worn Epic shackles. So make sure you write to us anywhere, any of our socials. You know how to reach us there, or offroadpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll get your entry added to the list.
Which we also just got
yeah, we just got an entry today.
Yeah.
We also want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month.
And don't forget our patches. Do I still have pictures in here? There we go. There's some.
Yep, there they are.
There. We've got the Off-Road Podcast patch and the Lumen Locker patch, which does glow in the dark. They are 13 shipped for the first one and 10 for any additional after that. Or you can pick up from me or Aaron. You have some still?
Oh yeah. Yep, I got some.
Or you can meet up with Aaron or Ben, and you can receive your patch before Jeremy receives his. Because I still haven't seen them. I coming back to last week, how Jeremy was talking about me going wheeling with him. I can't. It's still no wheel November. So how I prevent breaking from happening.
Well, I think you need to wheel in November so that you can break the curse instead of breaking your rig.
I don't know about that. That's dangerous. Oh, and a reminder to the for the patches. If you are wanting internationally, I'll get you a quote for that. So it'll be $10 per patch plus whatever shipping is to your location. Because some places it's a little spendy. We've
Yeah.
sent 2 international orders, and I've got to ship some here soon to Australia, I believe soon. So
Yeah.
and time for the news.
Have tire troubles ever left you deflated? Colby Valve has got you covered. Ever have a valve stem leak? Colby Valve makes reusable and easily replaceable valve stems that don't require you to remove your tire from the wheel. They work with your off-road rig, ATV, side-by-side, commuter vehicle, or even your tractor. Never be left stranded again because of a busted valve stem. They also have a tire repair kit for those punctures that keep you away from doing your favorite thing, wheeling. Make sure to check out colbyvalve.com or ask for them at your local off-road products store.
I was cleaning up outside today, and I ran across my sprayer. And it just made me smile ear to ear.
I'm not sure Eric's comment here. Eric says not to cover something. Oh, I know what he's talking about.
Yeah. I forgot that was up.
Yeah. I'm picking up on
Whoops.
it now, Eric. Yep. Whoopsie. That's all right. That's all right.
Well,
I mean, I've got the pro gun, pro God on there, so.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. Well, Ben, before you jump into the news, I ran into one of our listeners on Saturday, and he listens to us while he drives a bus around Portland, like a transit bus where he picks people up and drops them off. And he told me that he just got a new truck, and I was like, "Oh, so what is it?" And he bought a GMC Canyon AT4. So I got to do some research, but I think the AT4 is the top of the line off-road model of the Canyon before you add the AEV package, which we're going to talk about right now. So yeah, he's got a sweet truck. I'm excited to check it out.
Well, since you started that, the GMC Canyon AEV has been announced. So AEV worked together with Chevy for the Colorado, and now they're doing it again for they did started also with the Chevy Silverado. I believe they're both called the Bison editions. Our friend Dennis, he's got a Colorado with the Bison edition, except for he doesn't have the snorkel. But he's got all the skid plates, the front bumper, and all that. The one funny thing I find hilarious about it is there is one skid plate they did not want to put on and buy it separately.
Really?
Yeah. And it's only like that big of a skid plate.
What skid plate is that?
I think it was a transmission one.
Huh. That's strange. I wonder why.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what one it was, but they didn't want to do it, and he didn't have, and he chose not to have the snorkel. So what the Canyon will get is you will get because there's the what's this going to be, the third generation for the Canyons and Colorados?
Yes.
So the new generation, they're getting so they'll come AVs worked out. They'll have a snorkel, 35-inch tires. I imagine slightly better skid plates. MCT says they'll get the same edition of bumper as the first edition, which means they're going to have better approach angles. The standard AT4X bumper gives you 36.9 degrees approach angle, equipped with a first edition, equipped with a come up winch, and then the AEV version, you get that 32.8 degrees, and it comes with a Warn 9.5 XPS.
So weird that they're catering to both come up and Warn.
I think what it is Chevy GM has a relationship versus AEV,
Yep.
being that they've worked with Dodge, Mopar, and all that a lot.
Yeah.
And Warren. So there's big differences between those bumpers. And looking at it, looks like on your corners is where you really see the difference in your approach and departure angles.
Yeah. I like that hidden winch. I like that color too.
Yeah, that was very similar to Jeep's Rescue Green. Nissan had a color like that. I wish Toyota had a color like that. But who knows? Maybe maybe when I repaint my 4Runner, that'll be the color I do.
Kermit the Frog green.
Kermit the Frog green. Or I'll just go like electric green, obnoxiously bright green.
Don't do it. Well, I'm excited. I'm curious to find out what it's going to cost to get one of these. I didn't feel like the AEV Colorado and the Canyon were that expensive. Well, I don't think they actually did a AEV Canyon in the last generation. I think it was only the Colorado.
It was only the Colorado.
Yeah.
And you know what? Now that I think about it, I think I know why Dennis's didn't have the snorkel. Is he's got a diesel one. And there's no diesel with this next generation. They've got like, what is it, 4 different options for the engine, which is the same.
I think it's the same engine, 3 different tunes. Yeah. So,
and turbo and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's interesting. We'll see how that looks. What's our next story here?
Well, there's going to be no EV Raptor, surprise, surprise. So you would think with the F-150 Lightning that there might be a Raptor version or something, or an off-road version of it. But it sounds like that there's talks with the Ford's CEO, I believe his name was, or is. I didn't put down his name. But the in simple answer, no. No partial, so no hybrid or fully electric are coming up in the Raptor lineup. They're saying that just with the weights and all that needed for the batteries, that it's not worth it. And here it is, Wyndham. He used the GMC Hummer EV as an example. And what did we say that weight came out weighing? Like 17
I think it was
pounds.
The entire truck I thought was like 9,000 pounds.
9,000? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculously heavy. And when you're talking about the off-road performance that the Raptor puts out with its suspension system and all that, you're really gonna you'd have to do like double coilovers up front or something like that, or a double shock. Yeah, I don't think that would work too.
I don't think it fits that market either. So
they said it's hard to claim clean energy with terrible range. The added mass of the battery pack really makes them reluctant to do that. And, you can't blame him. And he's also shut down the rumors of a bigger, heavier 7.3 liter V8 for later Raptors.
That's a bummer. I know the engine's heavier, but that thing is a beast of an engine, makes a lot of torque, and from what I understand, you can throw a lot of boost at it and make a lot of horsepower and torque with it. So
yeah, I think what they're trying, I think what they're really trying to do, to be fair, is they're trying to stay true to what the Raptor is designed for, is dunes and fast and hard bumps.
Yep, desert running.
The heavier the rig you have, the harder it is to keep that and to keep those shocks cool, because they come with what is it? Fox bypass shocks.
I think so.
So I mean, you're running bypasses, and then you're having to run double, triple bypasses to keep it going. I don't think that would be very efficient for the price, because you add that heavier engine, you're talking a whole lot more money.
You think Ford would change their mind if the TRX came out with an EV option?
Hard to say, because I know that those trucks do battle. It's what they do. So, yeah, I haven't specifically looked for it, but I'm curious. I just saw a video today where they did like a drag race of T-Rex and a Bronco Raptor. No, not a Bronco. Sorry, an F-150 Raptor R model, and the TRX. It didn't smoke it, but it pulled ahead and it stayed ahead the entire time they were drag racing. I believe it was like on an airstrip or something. So longer than a quarter mile. And I'm sure that people want to pull ahead, but what I'm curious is so what I haven't gone looking for is we've got a couple electric trucks out there, and the Cybertruck eventually is going to come at some point. Are those?
You're breaking up, Aaron. He's frozen. Let him go. Let him go.
No.
There. You're coming back, Aaron.
Yeah.
All right. You got to Cybertruck.
Yeah, you got the Cybertruck. You've got what's the one that's out there right now that everybody's driving around?
Rivian, which I'm working
the
on.
Rivian, yeah.
Rivian.
Yep, I'd love to see them do some drag racing with those.
I've seen a video. Rich Rebuilds. He's the dude that buys the Teslas and rebuilds them. He took a Rivian out to the track, and they did amazing. Like, it was running like 6-second quarters, I think it is.
There's no way it was doing 6-second quarter
No,
mile.
eight
Maybe
second-
6-second, maybe eighth mile.
Maybe it was
an eighth mile, but
yeah, it was
not a
just
quarter
stupid,
mile.
It was stupid fast, and you're talking a stock vehicle, just whooping on people in their rigs. So, but I mean, you're also paying out the nose for them right now too.
The Rivian's got a good market lead right now because it's the first three-row electric vehicle. There's
for
nothing out there
the SUV version.
Yeah, they've got an SUV 3-row, which is really nice.
I've yet to see the third row, the SUV version. I've only seen the trucks.
The trucks are cool. The headlights throw you off though. They look fun.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I've had someone driving the opposite direction of me, and I see the headlights. I'm like, oh, there we go. That's Rivian.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you would think they'd be brighter, but maybe it's just because they're aimed properly.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
All right, Jesse. We're going to start you off with my favorite thing to do is the fast 5 facts. So, new or old vehicle?
Old.
Summer or winter camping?
Summer.
Rock, sand, snow, or mud?
Snow.
Favorite vehicle brand?
Jeep.
It's leaking. Favorite tire?
BFJ.
Is the tire leaking or is the Jeep leaking? Oh, I'm not sure what you're getting at, Ben.
Jeep's leaking.
Okay, all right.
So is my Harley.
Hey, there's a puddle there, a puddle there. Okay, it's still got fluid. We're good, right?
That's it right there.
All right, and then my most recent addition to the Fast 5 Facts is the question of the night, and that is any recommendations for someone new to off-roading?
Don't be scared to go out with a bunch of people. That's where it starts. Find out what you're comfortable with. Go out there, have some fun, because that's what it really all amounts to.
Awesome, great advice.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's get to know you a little bit more before we jump into MFC stuff. So how did you get started into off-roading?
I think he froze again.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
nope, there you're back again.
So how did you get started in off-roading?
Well, like I said, when I was younger, I kind of went around, hung out with my buddies who have Jeeps, but then took a hiatus throughout the majority of my life. Um, got into Jeeps, started in the street Jeep scene, believe it or not. Once that fizzled out, I decided to get the Jeep Cherokee, and I bought it with no idea of what I was going to do with it. I was just going to have a vehicle. It was the Trailhawk, and it was very capable off-road. It turned out to be more capable than a lot of people would think it would be. Taking it off-road, I would go to Roush Creek a lot with a totally stock vehicle, and found out that I would get stuck because a lot of the off-road lines at Roush Creek were all washed out. So I said, you know what? This is probably an opportunity for me to try and buy some parts for it. Nobody had any parts. So I wanted to take an off-road vehicle off-road, and there was no support for it. So I was kind of stuck. So I was pretty much doing fire roads, overlanding trails, kind of stuff like that. We're keeping it real and simple. Because a lot of times I'd either go by myself or with one other person. And since we were all basically driving Jeep Cherokees, there's only so much you can do.
Yep, definitely.
I mean, the off-road scene for that market segment, you know, for the Jeep Cherokees is totally different than what you would see for let's say, let's go with a Wrangler, for instance, that can throw 40s on it, 1-ton axles, and basically just crawl over anything. Our segment wasn't able to do that. So it was a totally different off-roading experience.
So what was the first you said the first vehicle you took was that CRV?
Yeah. I think it was the first model CRV.
First
Oh,
gen?
wow. Did it have one of those folding tables that pull out of the back?
I probably did. I think it had something like that. Oh God, showing my age right now.
You know, the funny thing though is I've actually seen a couple guys build, and then I just Googled what the first gen CRV looked like so I could share a picture with everyone. I've seen people off-roading them, and it's been more of a recent thing here. If I can get that picture to pop up here.
Not including Gambler 500 rigs?
Not including Gambler 500 rigs.
Yeah.
Actually, at the shop I worked at before it closed down, we helped a guy lift one and did a couple other things, and it was just like, really?
Yep,
That's clean. That's pretty clean.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm. It's enough to get you somewhere, and you know, enough to get you in trouble.
Those are probably like 30-inch tires, maybe. I can't tell for sure, but they look like maybe they're 30s.
I mean, we did a lot with the stink bug on those 28.5-inch tires, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yep, I remember that thing.
Well, everyone fails. So what's your most embarrassing moment on the trail?
Not being able to make it off the trail.
Uh-oh.
I high centered on a rock, and I couldn't get off it, but you can literally get out of the vehicle, walk to the back, and just push it, and it would turn in a circle. That's how bad it was.
Oh man!
Yeah, that's how bad it was.
That's quite the turtle. That's funny. That's funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
do you have a?
What was that?
Where was that at?
Roush.
Okay. All right.
I've done a lot of my fun adventures at Roush, and I think this was the backside of Crawler's Ridge, maybe it was. And it was kind of like a switchback, and I was going at it all wrong. And it was in the Cherokee. And the Cherokee does not have your standard power steering pump. It's got an electric power steering setup. So if you are trying to turn those wheels up against friction, you're going to overheat the power steering electric motor, and you got no power steering off road. Experienced that, but
Yeah.
you give it like an hour. You open up the hood, you let the motor cool off, and you're good. That day I broke. Well, I didn't break, but I did break all 4 axles. And the drive shaft bearings. That was a fun day. It was probably like a $5,000 day.
Oh my goodness.
Like I was telling you before, what each one of those axles cost.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's try to flip that on its head. Do you have a biggest win on the trail?
Yes. So I would say the biggest win that I probably had was I held a MFC day at Roush, where I invited there's probably like a dozen and a half to maybe 2 dozen Cherokee owners. We ran a lot of trails and got the opportunity to use the winch to pull people out, showing the capabilities of the product line. And I think I pulled 1 or 2 Wranglers out. And when you're a Wrangler and you're getting pulled out by the redheaded stepchild Cherokee, it's definitely a win for all of us to take home. It's a W for us.
Absolutely. That's always a big W. Yeah.
Anytime.
It's good.
Are there any places that you haven't been wheeling that you want to go wheeling? Any bucket list wheeling places?
Yeah. So I've had the chance to go out west, not in my own personal vehicle, but rented vehicles. Been out to Sedona.
The best off-road vehicle is a rented vehicle.
Oh yeah, that is true. But Moab, I mean, the mecca for anything off-road is Moab.
Yeah.
Gotta love Moab, right?
Just to be able to say that you went. I mean, there's probably a once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, and then you don't even have to bring your own vehicle out there. You can go out there and rent a vehicle.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. So let's talk about MFC. So what type of products do you guys sell?
So we started product lines for the Jeep Cherokee. Started in 2016, developing products as a hobby in my basement, in a little corner in my basement, me and my buddy. We developed a full line over the years for the Jeep Cherokee. Saw some cross-platform capabilities. Some of the products for the Cherokee fit on other vehicles. It wasn't until the refresh where I started thinking about, this product line, this platform might come to an end. So who knows? I mean, they're still making the Cherokee. I believe they're starting 2023 soon. So we've had, what's that, a solid 7-year run on that platform. And I had to get into another platform. And at the same time, I had my 4th kid. So I've got 4 kids. 3 of them would easily fit in 3 car seats in the back of the Cherokee. But once we had the 4th, I was like, well, I need a bigger vehicle. Let me see what I can get that there's very little aftermarket support for. And there's only so many vehicles that have that 3rd row characteristic. So I got involved with Tahoes and Suburbans from the Chevrolet line. So I think it's in their 5th gen right now that we're focusing on. So just basically the Jeep Cherokee and the Chevrolet Suburbans and Tahoes. It's a good thing too, because it's a niche market. There's a void for aftermarket support. And when I make a product, I like to make a product that is quality, got a good price point, and will last either as long or longer than the vehicle.
you get a lot of loyal supporters when you have a niche market like that too. I've always driven an underdog vehicle. So back in the 90s and early 2000s when the tuner crowd scene was big, I didn't drive Honda Civics. I had a Ford Escort. And I wanted to be everything that they were doing. So you had to just kind of cobble stuff together. There was a couple companies making stuff, and um, you did what you could. And then now, as an off-roader, I have a Nissan Frontier, which is not a Toyota Tacoma, and so they just aren't as popular. I think they sell 3 or 4 to 1 to compared to the Nissan Frontier. So once again, there didn't used to be a lot of aftermarket support out there. They've grown quite a bit in the last few years, but yeah, I totally get it.
And it's like a 10 to 1 on off-roading too with them.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely niche market. And I think that you probably already know that you have loyal customers and people that totally appreciate the fact that you're putting time and energy into developing something for a product that nobody else seems to care about.
True. It's very true. Sometimes when I do some of the back end administration, and I look through the customers and the orders that are going out on a daily basis, you get to see how many orders that they placed over the course of you being in business. And when I'll sometimes see one previous order, 2 previous orders, but then you see the customers that are like 10, 11, 12 previous orders. And
Wow.
that's what makes it worth it, because you know that just keep coming back because it's a quality product.
Nice.
Yep, getting them to come back is always the hard part with customers.
Yes, it is, especially in today's day and age when all it takes is a keyboard warrior and somebody who has a Karen attitude.
Or someone in China to copy your parts.
Oh, we've been there. But we've won. We've won every chance we have. Because believe it or not, although we have products that are patented, it's not me who goes to bat for my product line. It's the customer base. You'll see the people, they'll show the competitor's product that is a direct copy, and the social media groups will go, we're not having that. We're not having that, which is good because it makes my life a little bit better. Makes me know that what I'm doing is worth it.
So are you guys manufacturing some of your parts in-house?
I would say 90%. We make everything. We make everything right here in Rockaway, New Jersey, unless it's more of a technical aspect, where it's like electrical components. I can't do that. I'm a developer, an engineer, a machinist. So we use other manufacturing companies that specialize in that and make them to our standards, and they fulfill our POs for that kind of stuff. But it's not like someone could buy it anywhere else. We have our standards and our specs for what we need to work for our product line.
Yeah.
But yeah, we machine right behind me, right in this space right here.
That's great. I love Made in America stuff. Can you tell us what some of the limitations of the KL chassis might be? And for people who don't know what the KL chassis is, that's what the 2014 plus Jeep Cherokee is riding on.
Sure. So right from the get-go, the Jeep engineer said it was never going to be able to be lifted. I knocked that wall down real fast, developed a lift for it, and some of the limitations is down travel, because the way that the subframes are, your front PTO, engine, everything are mounted to the front subframe. So you can't lower the front subframe. So a lot of aftermarket companies will focus on subframe drops to be able to give you the ability to have an IFS platform where angles are not steep on the axles. unfortunately, with our platform, you have to have angles because that's the only way to really get the lift done. So the max lift on a non-trail hawk would range between 2 inches and 2.5 inches. Max lift on a trail hawk is 3 inches. Max tire size that a lot of customers are always asking is, what's the largest tire that I can fit? No lift, with a lift. Luckily, we've made that very simple. There's a guide for everybody on that. But if you don't want to do any modifications to the body, trimming, anything like that, is 30.5. 29.5 is a factory tire size. So you're really only bumping it up one tire size to a 30.5. But if you don't mind trimming, you can go all the way up to a 32. If you go any larger than 32, you're going to blow the vehicle up. Everyone who's gone to a 33, the drivetrain couldn't handle the rotational mass. So that is a very big limitation.
Interesting.
Yeah, 32 max.
So people have
trim.
people have squeezed the 33 in, but it just is too much mass. Okay.
Yeah, because once you get into that 32 range, that weight is almost double what the factory tires are. And a lot of people like to say that our drivetrains are made of glass, so you just want to be as careful as possible. So,
I get
and
it.
then when a 32 with a 2-inch, 2.5-inch lift looks perfect. It looks like it was designed from the factory that way. There's enough wheel gap, there's enough tire, there's enough meat, there's enough lift that it just looks perfect. Some people want to say that they stuff 33s in there, but then it looks like that there's maybe like an inch of clearance between the top of the tire and the fender liner.
You don't have much up travel or anything.
No. And
Gotcha.
to fit that 33 in there, you had to do a lift that almost reduces your down travel, because the way that the lifts are done is it basically repositions the knuckle from a stationary position here to a stationary position there. So now it's reducing the amount of down travel because it's deflecting, because it's already attached to the lower control arm. So you've got no more up travel, no more down travel. All you can really do is go straight, because you can't turn the wheel at that point. I mean, if you want a quarter mile.
Yeah.
I've been in a truck that was like that. They ordered too big of tires, and it was literally like 1/4 inch of a turn here, back up, quarter another. So much fun.
Mm-hmm.
So how often do you hear the "how big of a tire can I fit with run with no lift" type stuff question? Do you hear that a lot? Or with your lift?
I used to, but I got so tired of hearing it, I had to hire somebody to hear it for me.
Nice.
It's a common question. It's an ongoing joke in a lot of the social media groups. It's
Oh yeah.
But I wanted to make it easy for everybody, so we made a guide. You go onto the website, in the FAQ section is what's the largest tire I could fit. Click there. There's a guide. There's a picture. It shows every tire size, what you need to do it. But
I love that guide. I've never seen anyone make a guide like that before. I love that that's on your website and that people can use it as a resource. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the beginning, it was probably half a dozen to a dozen questions a week. And what we would do is we would just copy and paste an answer right from emails and just answer it back that way.
Yeah. Well, oh, go ahead, Ben.
I was gonna say it's a really good detailed guide. I'm looking at it, and it's a common question in the Forerunner groups, surprisingly enough, right? Not really.
Every group.
But like this goes into really how to fit stuff in. Like I've heard of, like I did a body mount shop for my Forerunner, and there's no real guide for it, so you kind of just like start cutting away, and it's like, oh, this looks like enough, let's test the wheel. Nope, need to cut some more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, also while I was cruising your site, I saw a product called a rear wheel centering kit. So The name gives away what it does. It's pretty obvious what the part does, but can you tell us what it's for and what someone would want it for? Because that's not something I'm just familiar with at all.
Absolutely. So in the rear of the vehicle, you've got your tire, and it's connected to the body by a trailing arm.
Mhm.
Connects right here at the knuckle where the wheel is, and it's long, and then a body mount right there. As you lift the vehicle, let's say here's your tire. As you lift it, it gets pulled forward because the trailing arm pulls it forward. So here's your tire. You lift it, and it comes forward a little bit. As the
Yep.
wheel comes forward, you want to compensate where the mount is on the actual body and lower that down. So in relation, it's kind of like a ratio.
Gotcha.
As you lower the body mount portion of the trailing arm in relation to the lift, it doesn't pull it forward, it just comes straight down like this. So in essence, you're keeping the rear wheel as centered as possible because you want to at least make sure that there's a certain amount of threads left holding that trailing arm into the body. So you can only lower it a certain amount before you actually don't have enough of a bolt in the actual body. So the safe amount is used, so there's no shear factors, and as you lift, it stays centered.
Gotcha. And that gives you more stuff with your tire. If you didn't do something like that, I would assume that when you articulate and shove that suspension up in there, that you're going to rub something maybe.
Well, it also accommodates keeping your alignment in spec. So if you also, as you lift more, you'll be closer to the front of the rear wheel liner, and then you can rub against that. So as long as you're keeping it centered, you're keeping the true flow of the wheel articulation up and down for compression.
Gotcha.
And droop. It was a no-brainer. I was like, let's start off with stacking a bunch of washers and see what happens. And then
Okay.
it worked. So then we just
I've stacked washers before.
Yes, we have. I've got a Jeep in the front yard with some stacked washers. So you guys have some pretty good how-to videos on your YouTube. Is there plans for some wheeling videos on there, or are you going to keep it strictly information?
I wanted to do that. The problem was I was never able to coordinate with my video guy to come out. So I do want to have a portion of the channel dedicated to not just informational, but like you said, doing wheeling videos and stuff like that. But like I was saying before, every time I go wheeling, I come home breaking something. So I don't want to be embarrassed and have something broken for the world to see.
I'm just saying, as the king of embarrassment here, like it was well, that's why I have no wheel November is go out and break something almost every time. I mean, it's kind of part of the thing sometimes.
Yeah.
But I get it as a company. I'm just, I'm a voice in the air.
I want to get back to the roots. That's kind of like where we started. When I first started this company, I had more time to go off-roading. Now the company consumes every bit of my existence.
Yep.
So there's no.
That's something a lot of people, when they're not in the industry, it's like, I've worked at a shop, I worked at a gun shop. It's like, you would think working at a gun shop, you'd have all this time to go shooting, or working in an off-road shop, truck shop, you'd be out wheeling all the time. No, I've got business to do.
Yeah.
So
I do want to get to the roots.
Nice. I'm seeing some 3D printers behind you. I assume, are those for some prototyping, or are they?
Do a lot of my prototyping on the 3D printers. Let's see. There's 4 Dremel 3D45s. A lot of prototyping on there. Believe it or not, there's a couple of products that we make that you can't find a part for. So let's say there's a lighting upgrade that we do that has to integrate into an OEM lighting housing. You can't find those OEM bulb retainers. I mean, there's a website out there that sells them, but they're like $60 to $70 a piece. They take advantage of being the only people that has them. So we designed them and we 3D print them, and it saves us $69 instead of $70.
Are you using resin for that, or are you using FDM printers?
So I have FDM. I've got 2 resins behind me. I've got that big boy over there and this little guy over here. The little guy I was using just to do some prototyping on some key fob cases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a Toyota. There's a nice company out there called AIT Design.
I've actually got one of their fobs. They're awesome.
Yeah, he's got an amazing product, and no one else is making them except him. And I was like, no, maybe I'll get into this business, but never came to fruition. So I bought a machine and never really used it for that.
It's cool to see the use of the 3D printers. I've got a resin 3D printer that I've been making Christmas ornaments on, and then I've got an FDM printer that I've made all sorts of stuff on.
Yeah, it's the technology is really cool. I've got one that I have, like, I throw tchotchkes into all of my packages. So I 3D print a keychain, and I put like a dome decal of my logo. It's basically my logo as a keychain. Now throw them into all the packages. And there's one that I have that's a belt driven. So it just continuously prints. So as it prints, the belt moves, it dumps it into a bucket, and it just keeps printing until the actual spool is empty.
Yeah, the belt driven ones are awesome.
I've not heard of that. Wow.
Yeah, it's
cool.
Belt fed things are awesome all around, huh?
Yeah. Unlimited what is it? Unlimited Y access. I've heard of people making like 3D printed swords. So you've got
really? They just keep printing something really long? Oh yeah.
So it prints at like a 35-degree angle. And then you can make unlimited Y axis long. It's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And literally the machine, all it does is just print keychains all day long, different colors.
Nice.
That's pretty fun. So, go ahead.
That's actually where I started. I started making little prototypes on 3D printing, then got involved with like bigger machines. And, when I first got this, I was like, oh my God, $1,800 for a 3D printer. How am I going to afford that?
I know, right?
Full CNC shop.
Now I got to ask, have you tried making suspension parts with your 3D printer, and did they work?
No, I've made the prototypes. I mean, there are budget pieces of plastic out there for suspension components for the Cherokee. I would never use plastic. I live and die by billet aluminum and 316, 4140 stainless all day long. But now that you say it, maybe I should offer like a gag joke for April 1st.
We love off-road April Fool's jokes. Yeah.
The
cheapest lift kit on the market. I've 3D print some springs, some coilovers or something.
No, I've got it. We'll talk about it afterwards. I got an idea for that joke for you.
Okay, all right.
There's one company has that market segment perfect. I think it's Rough Country. They always come out with
Rough Country comes out with some great ones. Yes, they do. Yep. You're making stuff for the KL Jeep chassis. You're making stuff for the Tahoe Suburban. Are you thinking about expanding into any other unique rigs at all, or is that kind of where you're going to just stay for a while? Or maybe you can't tell us. Maybe you're working on something and you can't say.
be honest with you, I get requests for making products for other platforms. But what I like to do is focus on one thing and focus on it for a long time and put all of my efforts into it. I don't want to piecemeal a product for this platform, a different product for this platform. I mean, I could do it, but that's not really where I have my company structured. I like to
Gotcha.
really just grab it by the horns and like just ride it every bit that I can and make a product that no one else is doing. And the fact is, if I own the vehicle, it allows me to have untested amount of time to be able to just develop product on it.
Mm-hmm.
Do your I can't remember. Do the KL stuff doesn't some of that cross over into the Renegade as well?
No, so the Renegade is cross-platform with the Compass.
Oh,
The Cherokee is actually a lifted 200C. The 200C is like a lowered version of the Cherokee. So the drivetrain, the suspension componentry, a lot of that is the same, as well as the Dodge Dart. The Dodge Dart does also have some cross-platform parts on it, especially when it comes to suspension.
So have you lifted a Dodge Dart or a 200C? Please say yes.
I don't know. I think I have. I mean, I to be honest with you, I don't know who buys my products. People just buy it. I am I am in those groups, and I do show that it's capable. But to be honest with you, there's one product I made that actually replaces a Jeep part, and you could probably see it on the site. But it's called the High Performance Strut Clamp, and Jeep dealerships actually buy this from me because the factory part is garbage. So let's say you look.
Go ahead and explain. I saw the video and the part, and I had no idea what it was, so I watched the video to learn about it.
So on the front ends of the suspension for the Cherokee, the Dart, and the Chrysler 200C, we don't have a traditional upper control arm, lower control arm. Our McPherson struts are attached to a knuckle that's connected to the lower control arm, and the top is married to the body. And normally you would have 3 bolts coming through the top, and it marries to it that way. We don't. What you see in that picture right there is 2 pieces of billet aluminum holding the strut to the body. From the factory, you get 2 pieces of plastic that are so janky, they jitter around, they spin, they fall off, and they're basically a one-time use. And I didn't make this product out of want. I made this product out of need because too many people were losing them on the trail and then being stuck. So the way that the plastic ones are designed is that they're undersized. So when your vehicle is going over bumps, that little gap from it being undersized allows the suspension to shake around in that tiny little bit of a gap. It's only a couple hundredths of an inch, but it's enough to make noise. And as it moves around, it deteriorates the plastic, and then the plastic pieces fall off. These are designed to actually, the way that we have them beveled on the inside, it sucks the suspension tight against the body. Made of billet aluminum, uses a 4-bolt attachment point. And that thing, I sell more of those every day than I do any one of my other products.
I was floored when I watched your YouTube video on the installation of this thing, because I was like, what in the world does this even do? I had no idea that someone would clamp a strut to a strut tower with 2 plastic moon clips and
Yep.
and expect that to have longevity. It's absurd because everybody else has the studs that poke through and you put nuts on from the top, and I was
It was
aghast.
a cost savings decision, I guess, from Fiat.
Yeah,
what it was.
I'm sure it was.
looking at this, I've done a lift on a KL, and seeing this, I'm like, wow, this, because he came in, we had to tighten his strut down once during his retorques, and I think it was his those clamps starting to fail.
Mhm. I believe it.
That's crazy.
Great product nonetheless.
You stole my thunder on that one.
I did. Sorry, Aaron.
Yeah, sure did.
Can you tell us about some of the featured parts that might be coming out soon?
Well, let's see. This weekend is our Black Friday Cyber Monday that I always drop a couple new products.
Nice.
Shameless plug right there. So I have 2 products that are going to be on the website that are no one else that has ever attempted to make, but they've been tested. One is a rear subframe drop. So remember I was telling you before, as you know, when you lift the vehicles, you get those angles. Dropping the subframe will bring those angles back down to factory spec. So we have a subframe drop that we've developed, had it tested with a couple of vehicles, was tested in Moab, probably 17, 20 different trails, badges of honor it's been on. So we know it works, it's great. So we're gonna do the subframe drop, and some customers came to us with a request for an ARB compressor mount. So we've developed one. It'll work with either a single or a dual compressor. And I mean, there's a couple of other products on the docket. We're always developing, we're innovating all the time. But those 2 that I think will probably, open up some eyes for some more capabilities to be able to go off-road, because not only will you be able to get a little bit more up travel with the subframe drop, because it's got basically a lift built into it. It's a body lift. But it'll allow people to lift their vehicles more safely than before, because there's no longer of an angle. And since the factory axles are so expensive, you get a tear in a boot because, those ribs on those boots are always rubbing when they're at that angle. This will prevent that, and it'll extend the life of people's rigs. So it's a no-brainer product, and it's pretty simple of an install.
Speaking of that, we talked before the show about the CV savers. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah. So the CV saver is a really cool design. It's basically a neoprene wetsuit for your boot. Let's say you have boots and you want to protect them, one, because like for a Jeep Cherokee, there's no alternatives. There's no rebuild kits or anything like that. It's, like I said, a wetsuit that goes over the factory boot. It protects it, and it keeps it from dirt and grime getting inside of it. And neoprene is very flexible, so it flexes with your CVs as they go up and down, because they're able to articulate with it. And the developer of the product, Marty out in California, originally designed it for covering, I would say, the shocks on motocross bikes, doing it for that, or a strut in coil. So not a coil, I think it has to be a coil over. To protect the shaft, the actual shock tube from getting dirty. So it was a super, super cool idea. And the guy's product is amazing.
Yeah, I saw those and I was like, man, see, that would possibly save like a factory CV axle from going bad when you notice you got, because I mean, Forerunner ones aren't super expensive compared to Jeep Cherokee ones, which I think you were telling me were in like the $800 range. There is no house part for them. You have to go through the factory.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's the one drawback. I mean, if you get a small tear in a boot, what would be like a $15 part at your Napa or AutoZone turns out to being an OEM replacement that's $800 plus $147 an hour.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I like those. That's I'm gonna
It's
have.
it's also great to just not even have on the vehicle. It could basically be a trail patch or a Band-Aid. Let's say um, you tear the boot and you're coming off the trail and you don't want to be slinging grease all over the place. So you just keep one in your backpack and you inspect your rig. You see that you got a tear. You just cover it up, and then the nice thing about it is that the grease does not get flung anywhere anymore. Everything stays tight inside of your actual CV because it's like a wetsuit. So your CVs don't overheat because there's no longer any grease in it because you're traveling home on the highway.
Yeah, definitely would save your butt. And I mean, at worst case scenario, you replace the boot if you can rebuild it, or or patch it. You were talking about there's a goo you can use to patch it. So
Yeah, that stuff is called Silpoxy. It's like a $10 product from Amazon, and you put it onto the boot, nice and clean, and it literally fixes any tears or anything that or punctures or little pinholes or anything like that.
I'm gonna jump back in our comments here. We had Matthew made a comment that it's a daily driver for our contest idea for those lottery winners is to buy a Dodge Dart and lift it with some MFC parts. So pretty comical. I was laughing earlier, so I added a question after I had talked to you guys, and so you guys didn't know that I had this question coming, but I was going to ask you if you had any Black Friday doorbuster deals or anything like that, just kind of as a joke. It's everybody goes crazy on Black Friday, but usually brick and mortar automotive parts places, specialty automotive stuff, don't partake in Black Friday. So it's funny that you've actually planned to release parts for Black Friday as a thing. So I think that's great. Well, we never asked what MSC stands for earlier in the episode. So what does MFC stand for? Or is it friendly?
Oh yeah, it's definitely friendly. It's been able to change over the years because the acronym works so well for certain applications for me.
Oh,
but
that's good. That's good.
It literally stands for My First Cherokee.
Okay.
Then it went to My First CNC. Then My First Company.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's on the border of My Four Kids. Oh, My Four Children, rather.
Children,
My Four Children.
But yeah,
yes.
Children. Yeah. Now, are you actually referring to children or 4 different vehicles that you own?
I do own 4 children and kids and vehicles. So,
yeah, that's okay. You don't have to answer that.
The ones that it's dedicated to the ones that put a smile on my face. So my kids.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, so your cars.
No, they cost way more than my kids.
The
Especially
cars
rebuilding
do?
them. Yeah, rebuilding them.
Man, you got some cheap kids.
he drives Jeeps. That's why.
Don't let my wife see this.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. All right. Well, where can our listeners find out more about MFC Offroad? Where are you guys located? How do we reach out to you?
So we are right in Rockaway, New Jersey. I live here, work here. I'm active on all the social media. So Instagram is MFC Offroad. Facebook is MFC Offroad. Website is www.mfcoffroad.com. Even my phone number is MFC Offroad. It's 833 MFC OFRD.
Nice. Is your license plate MFC ORD?
It's Mr. MFC.
Okay.
Nice.
You got it covered. You got it covered.
Yes, sir. I wonder if anybody sees that, if they actually know it's really me.
That's good. That's good. Well, we definitely appreciate you coming on, Jesse. And thanks to all of you who are in the comments tonight. Very active tonight. And those who watch us live, like I said, you guys all in here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different people at least in the comments. So awesome. Really appreciate you guys. Share it with your friends. Help us grow. And God bless America, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren Medical Gear Outfitters and Colby Valve to see all their great gear. We're a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a comment or question? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.net or through our social media channels by searching for Offroad Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe, and courteous. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Aaron, you know what I'm thankful for this year?
What's that?
Not needing to use Rick's AAA yet.